Welcome back to Big Mouth. I'm Mick Meanus, and we're talking about Zack Snyder leaking a picture of Wayne T. Kerr as Green Lantern on his live stream for Netflix's Army of the Dead. In fact, Snyder has spoken more about the DCEU and his history with WB during the promotion tour of Army of the Dead than he actually has spoken about Army of the Dead. I think it's so audacious of Snyder to show this picture of Wayne T. Kerr as Green Lantern on a stream for Army of the Dead, and I wonder how Netflix feel about this. He seems to be a very random guy, Snyder, and I don't really think that this is something he would have spoken to Netflix about. And this is the situation that costs Snyder with big organizations. I think he does these audacious things, and this is a big thing to do. But what does this prove? What this proves is that Snyder is chipping away at WB, and he's still fighting to restore the Snyderverse. Anyone who thinks he's put his comfy slippers on and is happy and content to do a zombie franchise and not go back and keep on fighting for the DCEU and so he can have his keys to the kingdom is not paying attention. It's clear to me, as I've mentioned on this channel on multiple occasions, that Warner Media offered him the opportunity to restore the Snyderverse over on HBO Max, and he rejected that opportunity because he wants the keys to the kingdom. He wants to run the entirety of the DCEU as he was doing before. So he's fighting a war against Warner Media. And as we've discussed already on my lives, it's interesting. We started this journey off with releasing the Snyder Cut. They were developing, or they decided to bring out a format called Warner Max. And the Snyder Cut was going to be released in episodes. And then all of a sudden, Warner Max wasn't happening anymore. And the Snyder Cut was not in episodes anymore. Why? Why? What happened? This is something that's made me entirely suspicious from the moment they stopped the Snyder Cut from being episodes. Snyder didn't really explain it very well, apart from saying contractual kind of paying the actors more money was the reason. But here's the problem, Zack and Warner Media. When you decided to release it as episodes, you knew you'd have to pay these actors more money. So why did you do it in the first place? Because you are lying. The reason that the Snyder Cut was no longer released in episodes because there was a falling out. And I believe it's because Snyder rejected restoring the Snyderverse on HBO Max. Going back to this picture, which I'm not going to show on this video for copyright reasons, and I don't know if I'll get away with it, but hey, we're having a discussion here, a short, brief discussion. Because Snyder has done something audacious again here. He's the master tactician, and he's going to keep on chipping away because don't have any misunderstanding. He is still fighting to restore the Snyderverse. He's not done with superheroes. He's not done with DC. He wants it back. I think he's obsessed. Is he right to keep on fighting? Of course. His version of the DCEU is tremendous. He wants it. Was he right, if this is true, to reject the restoration of the Snyderverse on HBO Max? No, he was wrong, because he wants the power. As I say, I have no evidence of this, that he did reject restoring the Snyderverse over on HBO Max. But I am stunned to my very core that he released that picture, and it is an act of war, make no mistake. Now, his die-hard fans, and I'm an admirer of Zack's DC stuff, but I don't eat, drink, and shit Snyder. Let's be clear about that. But, people think, and his fans think, that, oh, Hamada is angry now. This is really going to hurt WB. Do you think they're going to restore the Snyderverse now? Do you think these tactics are going to persuade them to want to work with Snyder again? Absolutely not. And that's the problem. This is the problem from the very beginning, because there were amicable discussions at the beginning. Now, we know that Emmerich wanted him to release it. the Snyder Cut as a rough cut. Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, but they just wanted to get the problem out of their head. Release it as that, don't spend any money, and Snyder wouldn't have it. We went from that to them giving him 70 million. Who made that decision, seeing they wanted him originally to release it as a rough cut? It was very interesting watching that Vanity Fair video in the history of his films from beginning to now. He talks about Sucker Punch and being accused of being a sexist. And he says he did it as commentary to how women are displayed, rather than him believing that's how women should be displayed. But again, Snyder is explaining himself rather than explaining himself in his movies. He does that a lot. I'm a big admirer of his DC works. Amazing. The Snyder Cut is an amazing story, a success story, an amazing film, one of the best CBMs ever made. But it's Snyder's persistence in passively aggressively going after the studio, Warner Media, that's not doing him any favours. I would imagine you would need new leadership at Warner Brothers Pictures for him to ever be able to get the keys to the kingdom like he wants. So here's how the thing works. And again, we've mentioned this a few times. The only way they even consider bringing him back is if Walter Hamada's, the Hamadaverse, doesn't work. So he made the decision to bring in James Gunn to do the Suicide Squad. Seeing the test screening, I know that film's going to be a big success, probably the biggest film, one of the biggest films of this year. So you're not going to trip Hamada up there. But next year is huge for Sarnoff and Hamada. Forget Emmerich. Emmerich is on his way out. They have 4 movies being released. Maybe one will be pushed back to 2023. Maybe Aquaman, we will see about that. But 4 movies from this moment being released. Another 2 big IPs being released on HBO Max via Peacemaker. No, 3. Peacemaker, Green Lantern Corps, and Gotham PD. So it's next year is the year where if you want the Hamadaverse to trip up, I think that's where we're headed. So really, my reaction to the release of this picture of Wayne T. Culler's Green Lantern is just shock. But this is typical of Snyder. He's going to keep on pushing and pushing until he wins. But will he win? It all depends on the Flashpoint movie. If that movie is a success, then all bets are off. It's over for Snyder. And he knows that. So he's going to keep on pushing and pressuring them until we see what this movie is. If this movie fails, Snyder could get his wish. The keys of the DCEU kingdom. Comment down below. Like, share and subscribe. And I'll be back tonight from 6 PM UK time with Big Mouth Live. Please tune in, and if you're new to the channel, please like, share and subscribe. I'll see you again tonight. Bye-bye.